College Promoters USA, founded and located in San Antonio, operates as the only family-owned college recruiting company in Texas that brings a truly professional, local, and face-to-face approach to area high school student athletes and their families. If your son or daughter is serious about college athletics, call them at 210-494-6363 or visit collegepromotersusa.com anytime. College Promoters USA, the best investment a parent can make in their high school student athletes.
Here we go. It's a holiday edition of the 50/50 podcast powered by College Promoters USA. Our proud partners, College Promoters USA. They are America's premier college prep program and high school student athlete marketing service since 1997. Located locally here in San Antonio, Texas, you can find them in the Ventura Plaza Shopping Center. You can also find them via social media at SATX Recruiting on Twitter, as well as at College Promoters USA on Instagram. You can also find more information regarding College Promoters USA on their website at collegepromotersusa.com. My next guests joining us on our very special holiday edition, they are part of what kind of helped spur the inspiration for this podcast to get started. I call them hashtag Soccer Chat legends. They are Coach Shaun Soderling and Coach Nick Rizzo, who are also the head coaches at Brescia University in Owensboro, Kentucky, and at St. Mary's University, Mankato. Is that right, Coach?
Winona, but yeah, close.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
And St. Mary's University in Minnesota. Coaches, how are you?
Pretty good, man. This is exciting.
Yeah, no, same.
Likewise. Glad to have you guys here. This is awesome. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time. I know it's a special time for coaches. We definitely value our personal time with families. So I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you guys being here.
You got me out of ripping a hamstring or something going sledding with my family. So
this
may work out in the end.
There you go. How about you, Coach? How about you, Nick? Anything?
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm heading to Chicago after this. I get to go pick up. My wife actually has to work today because she's got real jobs. And so for I'm going to pick her up.
Shout out to Kelly.
Yeah, shout out to Kelly doing her nursing thing. Woke up at 4 a.m. to get to the hospital today. So picking her up, and then we're gonna head down to Chicago to see some family.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. So before we kind of dive in a little bit more, guys, into some of the specifics, the details of what we want to talk about today, just briefly for some of our listeners across the state, even across the country, that have never listened to, may not know who you guys are in terms of Soccer Chat, as well as where you coach. Just tell us brief intros, a little bit about your background and where you're at today.
Go for it, Nick.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll go my background and then really quick, and then we can talk about Shaun's and kind of how we ended up connecting. But initially grew up in Chicago. That's where I'm heading this afternoon, and played my college soccer at a school called Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa, and that's where I started coaching, actually. Fortunately for us, it's one of the weird states where guys soccer is in the spring. And so when my season was done in the fall, an opportunity opened up where one of the players on the team, who was a senior when I was a sophomore, asked if I would come be his assistant coach. And he still coaches at Loras now, which is he's still one of my good friends. So I was his assistant coach for a year, and then he graduated, and then I started becoming the head high school coach my junior year. Did that for 2 more years, and then went and got my graduate assistant job at Aurora University. So I started coaching college soccer right out of college. Was actually up here at St. Mary's for a few years as an assistant, and then went down to Monmouth College in Illinois and was there for 4 years. And then this opportunity opened up for the head coaching job up here, and I really liked it here. It's a super beautiful area and some great hospitals for Kelly to work at as well. And so it just really worked out to come back here. And so that's why I'm back here and got to take this job and really loving it.
Awesome. How about you, Shaun?
Oh, man. I grew up in Southern Indiana. Been there for 35 of the 37 years I've been on earth. I played at a junior college in Indiana. I didn't really think I wanted to play, but I've told the story on our show numerous times. I've moved in. I got a call from the coach, asked me if I wanted to play. I was like, no. He's asked if I brought my cleats. I said, yeah, but just for like intramural stuff. And next thing I know, he told me to open up a box that was in my room, had my shin guards, had all my equipment. And I was like, all right, I'll be at practice. And he's like, see you in 15 minutes. So I played at Vincent's University. I went the junior college route, proud of my junior college background. Wasn't one of those, the typical, you have to have a bad GPA or, things like that. It just wasn't the case. It was that school ended up being the right fit for me. It was just far enough away from home that I felt comfortable. And so I spent a couple years at Vincent's University. While I was there, I was coaching. I didn't know at the time it's what I really wanted to do. I was really focused on my broadcasting career, and started teaching right after out of college. Then realized that I liked coaching, and was like, well, how can I coach all the time? So I got a high school teaching job down in Kentucky, and coached and taught at the same time. And then I was like, okay, how do I really coach all the time? And then I was able to start my career off at the University of Evansville, Division I school, and then went to Alderson Broaddus for a couple years. And then just recently, the week that the pandemic started, I started at Bresh University, the NAIA school in Owensboro, Kentucky. So been involved in the game for a long time and have coached a lot longer than what I'd like to admit. I get told all the time that Nick and I look super young, but when you find out how long we've coached, you find out how old we really are. But through it, social media has been a big thing. And that's actually how I met Nick, was starting the Twitter form of Soccer Chat. And Nick and I would just talk on Twitter every week. And I forget how many weeks we were in, and I just sent him a text and was like, hey, you want to do a podcast? And I'll never forget his response. He was like, I don't know what that is, but sure, I'm in. So I just had to inform him that, I had a broadcasting background and had some failed podcasts that I had already done. And we worked out some kinks one night till about 2:30 in the morning, and then recorded our first episode the next day. And we've been going on almost 5 years now.
Awesome. That's kind of a response that I would expect from Nick. I don't know why, but yeah, I have no idea what that is, but let's do it. Yeah.
My wife and mom would tell you that I am unfortunately a yes person. I'm that person. If you came to my door at 2 a.m. and it was hey, we're going to do this, I'd be like, yeah, sounds good. Just wait, let me get my shoes.
No, now that you're married, you have to ask for permission first. You can't just go off at 2:30 in the morning.
She's asleep. Yeah. She'll be fine.
Yeah, he's in training. He's in training. He's learning.
I am in training. If you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I'm doing poorly in training.
Right. So guys, talk a little bit briefly. So I know Shaun Brescia, you just hit on it as far as you literally took the job as the pandemic unfolded.
I started, and 2 days later they kicked the kids off campus because
right,
COVID had just really started.
Right, and then Nick, also you as well, at St. Mary's. Talk about, obviously very different, an NAIA school, a D3 school, so have to deal with different, sets of rules and operations and whatnot and policies. But all that said, talk about what has this past year, right? Going from last fall to this fall, but also particularly this calendar year, and what is the longest year in college soccer history? What was that like? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about it, I think it was more straining on the kids than maybe we realized, for most of us having a spring season go and then turning around quickly and having a fall season. I remember at the end of our spring season, our starting goalkeeper, who ended up being all conference, all region for us, was about done with soccer. It was a very she had been in and out of quarantine a ton in the first semester. Second semester started, and I think us as coaches kind of maybe this is just a mistake I made, thought that kids wanted to be out there every day as much as we wanted to be out there because they had been gone for so long, not realizing that there is a life balance that needs to occur. Because we got back and we started practicing right away in late February, early January, and that went with games all the way through May. And then we had a quick turnaround into August again. And so I think this season being normal made them have a lot more fun again. I don't think and even talking to some of my Division I friends, and I remember working at camp this summer. I won't say which camp to out the team, but their players were talking kind of on the side, just being I'm not ready for another season. It had been they were already reported. It was July. And so I think getting through this year, Glenn, like you said, it was the longest year in a really long time. I think it was really straining mentally on our players because it was just a lot. It was a lot, and it was a lot of unknowns, a lot of going in and out of quarantine, maybe getting COVID, maybe not, testing a million times for college athletes. And so I think it was getting through this year was so good for their mental health by the end of it. but so straining for them throughout the year.
Yeah, I think like to me, what the kind of the crazy part was like Nick, myself, one of our other friends, we all kind of started jobs, whether at the beginning or kind of in the heart of the pandemic. And it was so neat to see the different experiences that we all were kind of going through as to where, I got to our team during the spring. And, like I said, I literally started on a Monday, players arrived, and Wednesday we were told they were all going home. And so it really kind of made me have to think on the gun of like, okay, like, well, how can we make this work now? And really, and Nick can attest to this. That's when I started doing the coaches calls on Skype when that got started, and was just chatting with coaches. And at the time, the NCAA was putting all these different, dead periods and not violation, but restrictions and things like that on in the NAIA, where we really can chat whenever we want. We don't really have restrictions. I just thought, okay, well, what can I do that they can't, where I can start reaching out to these kids? And it just really allowed me to explore and come up with some different ideas that, once some of those dead periods got lifted, I had friends from NCAA schools reaching out saying, well, how did you do that? How can we do this? So it was really just finding a new way to do our same job, except do it from the comfort of our own home. So I think we as coaches really found out, what all we're capable of during that time period and during this very long kind of pandemic season, if you want to call it that, because technically it's still not over yet. We've just really been able to see how much more we can do and how creative we can get to continue making this work given all the restrictions that we may have. Like there was a point where Nick wasn't able to travel like a couple of states outside of Minnesota. And basically I would be like, hey, like, where do you want me to go to? I'm going to this place. Do you know kids are going to be there? So we really found ways to connect with each other and be able to still have those eyes everywhere to help out and to see kids, to help those schools who weren't able to travel.
Yeah. And, it's funny you mentioned that too, Shaun, because, you took a new job there in Brescia. I decided to, right in the middle, or my family, not just me, but right in the middle of the pandemic, we moved as well, went from El Paso to back to San Antonio. And Nick, you took, you're kind of in a situation like me where you're, I guess, for essentially lack of better words, you're returning home, right? You were previously there, I think, on the men's side there at St. Mary's. Is that correct? Yeah. Yep. So you leave there as an assistant, you go to Monmouth where you create a very strong program nationally at the D3 level. And then right in the middle of the pandemic, you also leave, and now you're back at St. Mary's, back home. Talk about that briefly, and maybe some of the other little changes in your life recently.
Yeah, a lot of changes. It was really interesting. So it was funny. This job actually opened up the first time right after the 2019 season, and that was the season that we just went to the NCAA tournament. So I have not even thinking about moving, hadn't even considered. Me and Kelly were engaged at that point, so we knew there might be a chance that we had to move somewhere for both of our jobs, but it was kind of just really in the back burner. And then COVID hit, and it was just kind of crazy. It was just a very interesting year. We actually weren't one of the couples that was planning on getting married in 2020, so we didn't have to postpone our wedding. We got to stay on our original date, but then this job opened up again. And I remember calling Kelly and I go, I know you've never been there, but it's really beautiful. And I think it would be a good place. And I looked at the hospitals up there where she worked, Gunderson. It's a great system. Rush up here, Mayo, there's a lot of different ones that she could work at. And so it's just a good family decision. And so, when we came up here, I interviewed and was fortunate enough to get it. And then, it was just kind of a crazy thing to be back. It's one of those things that you might have had the same experience. Sometimes you'll leave a place and you never know if you're going to go back there. You get back there and it's almost like this feeling of excitement. You're like, oh man, when I left that place, I never thought I would walk through that gym again, or I never thought I would go to that office again. And you go, it's like, oh, this is kind of cool because I never expected this. And so that part was a lot of fun. And then, we had our spring season, which was awesome. Did some awesome things and had the players really step up and do just have a fun year. And then I got married in May, and then it was so funny this year.
Great reception, by the way, fantastic reception.
420 people or whatever it was. We started the summer, and I remember it's literally the day before our opening game. I come home and Kelly's like sitting on the couch. She goes, "So I got some weird news." And I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And she's like, "I'm pregnant." And I was like, "Oh, that's like I'm I start crying. But it was just funny because it was literally the day before our first game. She was like, "Yep, I'm pregnant." I was like, "Okay, well, that's another thing that we're gonna have to figure out." And we'd bought a house a month before, so like everything that you could possibly do during COVID, we did. But it was an amazing experience. Gosh, I'm so excited to be a dad. Like so excited to be a dad. And again, this season was incredible, and it's fun to be back here. I love Winona, I love St. Mary's, and so it's been just a great experience.
Yeah, that's awesome for sure. Definitely, you'll definitely have a whole new meaning of the sense of life and love, what all that means once you welcome your little one into the world. So definitely excited for you.
The one thing I keep hearing from coaches is like no matter what happens and how crappy your day was, like when you get to come home and like just hold them like and be like that, it helps like make any stress that you're feeling at work like completely go away.
Right. It's by no means am I making the exact comparison, because obviously one is a child, one is a dog. But if you're a dog person, right, the closest thing up until that point that could even possibly compare is just like you said. You have a kind of a crap day at work. You come home and your dog is just there to greet you, as happy as could be, right? So imagine that like 10,000 times over, right? That's kind of what it's like. So I know that's not the greatest metaphor, but still something, or analogy, I should say.
I'm so pumped to be a dad.
That's awesome.
I like we keep saying we don't care what it is. Like, we're just so excited for me.
Yeah. So Shaun, talk to us a little bit. I've often referred to you as one of the hardest working coaches in college soccer, right? So he's out there. You're obviously shaking and moving, trying to make things happen. Obviously on the pitch with your team, the ins and outs of preseason, the season, recruiting, but also you're at various camps, and then everything that you're kind of doing the workload of also essentially an assistant, right? As far as, because you're killing it on the social media marketing side of things as well. Talk to us a little bit about the ongoing transformation there at Brescia.
Man, it's so crazy. When I took the job, like any other coach, you kind of set like a 5-year, 7-year plan of, okay, hey, in 5-7 years, where do we want to be at? And just things have been moving so quickly. And I think just the support that we've gotten, not just from the soccer community in general, has been huge for us. People like yourself, people like Nick, a lot of my coaching friends, we're a program that, the kids that we've brought in since I've been there, the previous year before I got there would have never even considered our school. And it just kind of speaks to a testament of what our players are currently doing. We've got some new administration at our school, which has really kind of been helping out. We've got some big plans coming up in the future for our program with our school. So it's, in coaching, especially in college, when it comes to recruiting, there's a lot of gimmicks, just like in sales. And, you hear the phrase a lot of, it's such a good time to be insert your own school there. And I would say the phrase, hey, it's a great time to be a part of our program. It's a great time to be a Brescia Bearcat. But right now, with everything that's going on with our program, which, lots of conversations with you, Hector, I mean, you've been able to see the ins and outs of what's been going on. And, now getting that help from our school and some of the ideas and the plans that they've got for us going forward, it's not just a gimmick. Like, it really is a good time to be a part of our program. We're super excited to where, just the talent that we've got coming in this year, talent that we had coming in last year, our returners that we've got, we've got a lot of really good players coming in, and for us, a school like ours, I should be really focusing on the 22 recruits still. I mean, I was just telling somebody this morning, I was having breakfast with a junior college coach. I was like, I'm already talking to 25s. Like, nice. I'm trying to stay so far in front that I want to get to a point like Nick and all my other friends that they can be done by the holidays with that year and be able to focus the next calendar year. Will we ever get to that? I don't know. It's always a hope and a dream, but it's really cool how a lot of kids are really taking notice. And I do think a lot of it is because of our social media. everything that's going on in our program, you're going to know about it because we're going to post about it. We're very transparent as a program. We just recently posted about our team GPA and our Dean's List kids. And, we got our first conference win of all time this year, and we made sure every single person knew about it. I don't know how many times I retweeted the videos and of the goals. And we had Dean Linky do the play-by-play for that call. Such a historic event for us. We showed we turned our locker room into Club Dub and, showed how happy our players were. And it's stuff like that that's really kind of catching the attention of players. I have to say I'm very fortunate to have the friends that I've got in this business to where, working a lot of camps to where, a lot of Power 5 schools are just flat out in front of kids. Like, hey, like if you really want to go play soccer and you want to have fun, you want to be successful, you need to go talk to that guy over there. And how many kids I've had reach out to me just saying, hey, I talked to this school. Unfortunately they don't have a roster spot, but that coach said you're a person to talk to. It's just been super helpful from the support. And I think, for us, as you can see in the background here, the sisterhood logo, yes, we're a Catholic school, but that's not our gimmick of the sisterhood. It's really what we're trying to build with our program to where it's more than just the players that you're playing with. It's those players who came before you, those players who come after you, to where when you graduate and you come back, you're not, well, who's that old person over there? They're going to know who you are by name, by face, and be able to walk up and say, hey, like, when you guys made it to the conference championship, what was that like? Or when you guys played in the Final Four in Orange Beach, Alabama, what was the preparation? What did you do to get there? And that's something that a school like ours typically isn't able to give to players. And so, we're never going to be a team that's going to keep up with the Joneses. We understand that we're not a Division I program. We're not an NCAA school, but we know what we can give to our players and their families and the students of our university. And we're going to make the most out of that. So it's creating those memories that are going to last a lifetime with people that you're never going to forget.
And you also have, can you tell us just briefly, you have a pretty big experiential leadership trip coming up in 2023. Is that right?
Yeah, we're taking our team to Sydney, Australia for the Women's World Cup, but it's kind of beyond that. Obviously we want to make a trip worthwhile. Our school talks all the time about student experience. And I thought, okay, if anybody who knows me, Nick will attest to this, and actually you can as well. My wife will tell you I'm super extra. So I saw the whole student experience thing. I was like, okay, how can we go beyond that? I was like, all right, I want the ultimate student athlete experience. When I took the job, I knew I wanted to do a trip every 4 years. The previous schools I was at did the same thing, and I wanted something that was special. And I was really hoping that when they were deciding between Australia and Colombia, that Australia was going to get picked. And thankfully, Australia was get picked because I knew I could kind of pitch that more to the school than Colombia. But thankfully, because of Soccer Chat, got some connections over there. And got some connections with a really good travel company that we're going over there. We're going to attend a couple World Cup games. We're going to check out some stadiums. Obviously, we're going to do the touristy stuff, check out the Opera House, go on a wildlife trip. We're going to go surf. We're going to learn how to surf at Bodie Beach. But the thing I'm most excited about, and our players actually are as well, is through Soccer Chat, I've gotten to know, and Nick has gotten to know Pete Nowakowski, who's over in Sydney, just doing incredible stuff. He was featured in the 2019 Women's World Cup for his involvement in youth soccer and adaptive soccer in Australia, and just what he's done for the game over there, specifically on the women's side and the adaptive soccer side. And Pete's going to come over and hang out with us while we're there and teach our players how to work with adaptive soccer players, whether it be blind soccer players, maybe it's a top soccer program. He's going to show our players how to work with them. And then once we kind of back from lunch, we've actually got members of the Australian national blind team that's going to show up to our training facility. And we're going to be our players are going to actually be able to work with them in preparation for their own World Cup. And because of Pete's education background, with the Australian Federation, Pete has a licensing that all of our players will be getting. So that way they could come back home and say, hey, here's a program that I want to start, or here's a program that's already in my community. Hey, I've got the licensing background. I've got an idea how to do this. I want to help out. So, that's the thing that our school really loves is that servant leadership aspect of it. And it was something I thought our players would kind of be into, but they're super excited about that part just as much as they are about going to the World Cup games.
Yeah, Pete's doing some pretty amazing things down under for sure. And that's definitely one heck of a experiential leadership trip for sure. So you'll definitely looking forward to that. All right. So gents, tell me, what are you looking forward to? Obviously you're on the recruiting trail for the spring. You have your spring, what your spring will look like. and then you transition into the summer. But what has you all excited going into next season for next fall at St. Mary's in Brescia?
You go first, Shaun.
Texas. That's got me excited for the spring. One of your former players we've got coming in January. I'm super excited to get to work with her. I think she's going to add a different dynamic to our team and really help us out, which has our players excited. They've all known her since last year, and they're just so excited about her coming up. I think with our team, while yes, I'm on the road recruiting, I'm really excited about getting to work with our players. The day after our season got over with, to get a text of, half of our team in the weight room saying, "Hey, we're ready to get going now," has really got me excited. The other side too of it, I'm super excited. I was telling Nick about this last night, actually, on our show. I'm really excited about really kind of planning our spring around my children's games. I didn't get to see a lot of their games this fall, and anybody who follows me online sees how much I brag about my kids and what they do, because as a parent, that's what you got to do. But for me right now, even though my daughter is as young as she is, she plays at a pretty high level, much higher than I ever played in my life. And so I really want to be a part of that. I only got to go to a couple games this year, and her season starts back up here in the spring. And so I really want to make sure I can get to as much of her stuff as possible. My son's playing basketball this winter. I want to go to as many of those games as I can. So, for me, the spring of it's a spring of sports. I'm so excited about it. Working not only with my own children, but with our players and really allowing these players, they got a glimpse this past fall of how good we can be, now knowing that we've got a lot more time for development this spring, which is a big focus in our program. Where we can take that development to, and then test it out in a couple exhibition matches this spring. So that way, when we come back next August, we're locked and ready to go and compete to get into the conference tournament for the first time. And I'm also excited about seeing Nick on the recruiting trail.
Yeah. We do. It's a problem because I feel like we just talk and don't recruit. Or you maybe recruit. I'm bad at multitasking.
I've learned I go to the places that Nick is not, because his recruiting strategy, which we've said on the show, is he will just go and talk to other coaches so that coaches can't watch games. So I really try to make sure, if Nick is going to Orlando, I'm going to go to Lake St. Louis the same weekend.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Super similar. I think I'm excited to have a second semester where I feel like I get to be a part of our players' lives, but not their coach. I think I think it was I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but I think it was harder to develop good relationships with players in the spring because we were playing and practicing so much. So there wasn't as much of that time where they can just come and hang out in Lisa and I's office and just talk. And so I think I'm excited for that part of it, to do some more service stuff, to do things like that, involve us as a team that aren't soccer stuff. Yeah. And going into next year, I think we took some really big steps this season. I think we surprised ourselves even a little bit. We had the best season in the last 30 years. And so I think for us, we finished third out of the 12 teams in our conference, and that the highest I think we had in the last 30 years was ninth. And so we kind of want to take one more step. I think it was funny because we got to the point at the end of the year where we were tied for first place with 3 games to go, and we ended up losing one that we probably shouldn't have. And I remember seeing players crying after the game. I was like, guys, nope. If you would have told us in the beginning of the year you would be sitting comfortably in second place with 2 games to go, you would have been heck yes, this is amazing. We just unfortunately met and exceeded our own expectations to the point where now we're disappointed. And so I think it'll be a fun year next year because I don't think we're going to surprise teams anymore. I think teams and opponents are going to be able to prepare for us a little bit better and give us a little bit more of their best game. And so I think that it's going to be an exciting season for us to see if we're capable of raising our level every single game.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to some more highlight footage of Nick's, sideline antics during goals.
What antics?
Or lack thereof, maybe, or lack thereof.
That's his goal for the spring, as well. His players are training. he's got to train for his celebrations.
He's got to bring the energy, right?
My wife makes fun of the fist pump. I just do like the little fist pump, like the golf fist pump. That's she makes fun of me all the time because I do it like when I'm watching sports on TV too.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way a little bit. Yeah, for sure. So, all right. So switching gears here a little bit, guys. Talk to us. How's the podcast coming along? Soccer Chat with the Wednesday, hashtag Soccer Chats that you all have. How's that coming along?
It's doing well. For us, it's always, you can kind of tell when it's in season and out of season for the Twitter chat. Just because people are in seasons, obviously all around the country. Seasons are going on at different times. So we still get on every Wednesday night, get on there and chat with everybody. Then the podcast comes out every Thursday. We had a really good show we just put out today. Obviously, anybody who's followed the news knows that Kentucky just recently got hit by a pretty bad tornado. And we had Zach Salchi on from Western Kentucky University. He also owns Mighty Kicks in Bowling Green. And, he caught my attention because I think it was just a couple days after the tornado went through. Zach organized a play day and had hundreds and hundreds of people show up to go play soccer just to get their mind off of cleaning up debris and the crisis that they had. And so typically like in December, our shows are like everybody who's going to present at convention. And I just felt like his story and what was going on down there was something that needed to be said and needed to be heard. So we were able to get his show out. This week we kind of planned on doing we used to do a Friendsgiving show. We're like, oh, let's do that for Christmas. But with Zach's story and what's going on down there, we really felt like this was the time for people to check out his story and listen to what's going on down there. And however, the soccer community is just so good in helping out that we've learned from Soccer Chat. We had something where, gosh, I think it was it last spring, Nick, the team that didn't have their goals got stolen or whatever.
Yep.
And, we just they had made their own like fundraising website and we just shared a link. And I don't know if we challenged people or we just said like, hey, like here's a team that really needs our help. And I think within like 10 minutes, they got all the money they needed and more for the goals that they needed. So the soccer community and Soccer Chat community is just, it's so incredible. And like I said, we wanted to get Zach's story up there. We've been releasing our shows for convention that we'll be doing live from there that I know you want to talk about later. So it's always, when we're out of season, Soccer Chat is like firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I'm so pumped, like all the shows we've got lined up, just super excited to chat with these people and to get their story out there as well.
Right. Anything to add, Nick?
No, I think Shaun hit spot on. I think the cool thing for us every week is the new faces that we see. And like, it was funny yesterday. Someone posted a thing about passing patterns. I was like, oh yeah, anyone I posted it to that person. I was like, yeah, just shoot me an email. I'll send you ours. And I think I got like 6 emails in the next like minute and a half. And like, hey, do you mind sharing with me too? I was like, yeah, no problem. So I was like, wait till Monday. I'm not in my office right now, but yeah, no, like that's a part that's always been cool for us. And I think that's why a convention is so cool too, because we'll get like exactly what happened to me and Shaun. Like it's kind of known if you follow along with our show, but like me and Shaun did this show for almost a year with never having met in person. Like we'd seen each other on Zoom, but never actually like physically met in person. And
he was so disappointed that I wasn't 6'4".
Honestly, like every time I saw you, you were holding a baby, so you looked giant. And then I met you, and I was taller than you, I think.
The look of disappointment on his face when he walked through that bar door. Also, the first time Nick and I ever hung out in person, we met up in Chicago, and I took him to a professional wrestling show at a bar. Yep. And like I said, he walked through the door, saw me, and was like, "Oh," because he kept calling me like the mountain or whatever.
Yeah, the mountain from Game of Thrones. Your big beard, then, like your own babies. I thought you were huge. You were just
and then he was like, "You're not as big as I thought you were," and I was like, "Great first impression, awesome."
Oh, is this breaking news? Is this the breakup of Soccer Chat? What do we got going on here?
This has been going on for forever. And honestly, if you've never been to a wrestling show, again, as a yes person, Shaun's like, all right, let's go to this wrestling show. I'm like, what the frick am I going to? And it is so much fun. Like, it is so much fun. Like, I would for sure go again. I probably would only go if Shaun's going, but it's one of those things that like, don't ever like judge a book by its cover. I had a blast at that wrestling show.
Nice. So the convention, I know Shaun just mentioned it. So Kansas City 2022 United Soccer Coaches Convention. And for those of you that want to get more information, I know Shaun can speak to it a little bit in a minute. Again, the United Soccer Coaches website. And then I know for registration purposes, Shaun or Nick, you guys can also hit on that because I know you have a promotion going with that. But the convention, tell us a little bit of what, I know you guys got a pretty awesome, guest lineup so far. I know you guys are still kind of working on that. But what's on tap, guests, what's new?
Oh man. So obviously if you want to register for convention, before we tell you how awesome it is, you'll want to go to United Soccer Coaches Convention.org. And while you're there, we're going to save you $80 by using the promo code POD22. So convention for us, it really kind of started 3 years ago. I think United Soccer Coaches, Jeff Van Dusen tells a really good side of this. I think they got tired of me asking them to let me and Nick do like a lecture there, because I think I tweeted them every day when we first started.
Like a shocking amount of time.
I was just like, hey, like it would be really cool if we did like a soccer chat live, like as a lecture at convention.
So much to the point where I was like telling Shaun, I was like, they're not going to let us come even as guests anymore if you keep doing this.
You're banned.
And and the worst part was Nick had never been to one before. And so he was like, I've never even been to one of these things. Like, are we going to be able to do it? It's like, I don't know. Just go with me. Just go with me. And apparently, according to Jeff Van Dusen, from what we would post, I'll say it came from my account, it didn't come from Chat Soccer. He was just like, hey, like Super Bowl has the media radio row. He was like, why podcasting is a big thing in soccer, so like why don't we have podcast row? And so he had reached out and was like, hey, what do you think about this idea? I'm like, hey, that sounds pretty cool. I've never heard of it before. He goes, neither have we. So the first one they did was in Chicago. I think there may have been 7 or 8 there.
Was there there was that many there?
Yeah, it was a pretty good amount. Yeah. Okay. And then Baltimore, it expanded. I think they may have had 12 to 15, something like that. And then I know for Kansas City coming up, they have, I think it's 20 this year. Nice. Where it's kind of cool to see all the various different shows. I think there's just a few that have been at all 3 now. And we're kind of lucky that we're the ones that we get to, thankfully they keep asking us to come back every year. But at convention, the thing that we love is we see all these people on Twitter, and Nick talks about this all the time, of we see all these avatars and you see all these tweets, but to actually put a face and a voice to where now, like every time Hector makes a tweet, I can hear his voice saying it and I can see him saying it. And that's just such a cool thing to where, Nick really found out at the Chicago one. I always joke with people that Nick is the superstar of soccer chat. Like if there was a like celebrity of soccer chat, it's this guy that's like right here underneath us.
The guy in the red hoodie, right?
Well, no, it's a red zip up, which I'm upset about.
I honestly,
well, he's a father now. He's upping his game because he's going to be a father. He's going to be a father soon.
Yeah. But I think for us, what Podcast Row really did was it allowed us to really see the reach and the people who actually pay attention to soccer chat. We don't know why they do, but they do, and it makes us happy. But it was so funny. I can remember Chicago. Nick was still trying to like go to all the sessions. Your typical first timer. I'm going to get every single session I can, even though like we had shows that we were doing. And it was I would just laugh because Nick would go to a session. People would see our booth come up like, oh, this is soccer chat. I'm like, yeah, like, well, where's Nick? I'm like, that's a good question. He's at 5 different sessions right now. To where, in Baltimore, kind of reeled it back a little bit. We had a lot of shows, and people were wearing red hoodies and talking about, oh, there's Nick in his red hoodie. It's allowed us to connect with so many people. And like, I know the Thursday night social for coaches of female athletes, in Chicago, somebody invited us to it. It was like, hey, like, you need to go to this thing. Cause I think at the time it was kind of like more of the like college coaches social, cause that kind of goes before it. And so we went to that, and Nick and I are just hanging out with some friends and meeting some new people. And next thing you know, Becky Burley's doing this trivia contest, and she was like, oh, if only I had a Vanna White with me. And our friend Don Crow just like pointed at me, and Becky was like, yeah, a soccer chat guy, come here. And I was Vanna White for her, and that got her to be on our show. And I had to open up my mouth as an idiot, like I always do. As Nick will say, like he and I guess more me, will talk things into happening, and I don't recognize it. And she was talking about, their theme for the social for Baltimore was an art gallery, and they were gonna have pictures of the various things in women's soccer. You walk around with your drinks and you talk about it. I say that like I've been to an art gallery before, but that's what I'm told it is. And I just opened up my mouth. I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if you did like Becky's got a great personality. It could be cool if you did like a Tonight Show type thing or a late night show. Becky, you've got the personality. She's also a DJ. I was like, you could do so much stuff with that. And she was like, oh, that's a pretty cool idea. 2 weeks later, after we do the interview, my phone rings, caller ID says Becky Burley. And I was like, why is she calling me? And she was like, hey, we talked about your idea for the late night show. We really like it. We're going to do it. Thinking that it was going to be like the following year. And I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. And she was like, no, like we're doing it this year. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's super cool. She was like, and by we're doing it, I mean, you're doing it. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a creative control freak. The wheels just get going. And I just instantly started thinking about all the stuff we could do. So we got to do it in Baltimore. It was so much fun. And literally since the week after that convention, I've probably texted Becky at least 3 times a month with an idea for this one in Kansas City. So we're hoping to have the biggest and best one that we've done yet it's called Overtime. It's just a little late night chat show with Nick, Becky, and myself. Our guest we just got signed up that we're going to be announcing here in the next couple of weeks. Really super funny guest. And the thing about that social, what is so cool, and I know Nick will kind of vouch for this, how many people at the Baltimore one, because that was the last one that we did. I can remember telling Nick and Becky the whole time, 7 people are going to show up to this thing, and 3 of them are us, and the other one is our guest. And we were in this like kind of like hallway area as I was still putting together like our videos at the very last second. And we walk around to like go up on the stage, and there's like 2,500 people. And I remember like looking at Nick going, oh, this wasn't supposed to be like this. And he was like, well, this is what you asked for. And I was like, oh my gosh. I remember telling Becky, I was like, Becky, this is not what I was expecting to be. And she was like, well, the people here for a show, we better give them one. And it was just so cool. Like how many people were there, but the people who were there, like Jill Ellis showed up, and how many people who listened to our show walked up and talked to Jill Ellis and got a picture with her, just like she was a normal person. Like she didn't big time anybody. And it was just to hear how many people were like, man, if it wasn't for Soccer Chat, I would have never thought about coming to this convention. I would have never had the opportunity to meet somebody like a Jill, like a Becky, like a Nick Rizzo, that, just opens up these opportunities. And so we've always said convention, yes, it's great for the learning experience. It's the top thing. I prefer convention and its sessions over education courses. That's just me. But that networking that you get while you're there and going to those events like that, what we want to try to do is connect all those people together. The people that you think to yourself, oh, I would never have a chance to talk to this person. We're going to show you that they're just like we are, and you can go and chat with them. And so it's been so cool. So far we've announced for our live show for Soccer Chat. We just announced yesterday, Eric Winalda, United States men's national team legend, is going to stop by the booth. We've got the good brother, Randy Waldrum. He always is our first show live from convention. And then we have David Copeland-Smith from Beast Mode Soccer. We announced on our show last night, or technically today. We always do a show with Dutic brand with Tiff and Adelaide from there. And then we always do a Saturday morning show from the Keeper Goals booth in Exhibit Hall. We just got linked up with that. We just got our guest that we cannot wait to announce. It's going to be absolutely huge. And then we've got some other guests that we're going to announce over the next couple weeks. So like people are going to have to tune in and see. Like last night, Nick didn't even know we were making the Eric Winalda announcement. I tried to people will tell you, if you're married to me or you're a friend of mine, I hate surprises. I hate not knowing things, but I love doing that to other people. So like Nick knew one of the announcements we've got coming up, and I put the tweet out, hey, we got a big announcement tonight. Nick was like, oh, I think I know who this is. And I was like, you don't know this one. And then in typical Nick fashion, we make the announcement of Eric Winalda, and within 5 minutes, I get this profanity-laced text message. How the heck did we pull that off? So it's I like keeping Nick on his toes. Because I know that if I can make him excited about the guest and what we're doing, I know we're going to make the people who are going to attend convention and who listen to our show and do our Twitter chat, it's going to get them excited as well.
Nice. So how many guests are y'all trying to target over that weekend?
We made a mistake. I think it was Baltimore, we made a mistake of like overbooking ourselves, and that's mainly my problem that I did that. But I think we try to really kind of even it out. I'm giving ourselves a little bit more break this year. We'll probably have, I would say, in the end, probably 12, 15 guests that stop by and chat with us. And obviously, we tell people all the time, like, if you listen to the show, if you're watching this and you're going to be there, stop by our booth. We'll turn the microphone on. We'll get a little segment in because we do put those shows on after convention for people to listen to. So we love talking to anybody, even if you're not the featured guest on there. Show up, have a chat, and we'll get you on the show.
Nice. So I know we had a little bit of a discussion about regarding this offline, but anything you can share with us in terms of how you're possibly thinking of sharing that, maybe even live with those of us that can't attend the convention, but would maybe love to get the insight on the interviews, the stuff that you all are sharing on Podcast Row, because I know one of the big things, unfortunately, like coaches is here in Texas, high school, at least high school coaches, they can't attend because they're always they're in season.
We heard a lot of that last night, actually.
Yeah.
From coaches like, hey, in Texas, we can't go. And I'm like, that sucks. Like, I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. It continues to be an issue. And, one of those things in terms of Podcast Row, which you were talking about with the United Soccer Coaches Convention, that's one of the things I'd like to bring eventually they have a big, so the next biggest soccer convention outside of the United Soccer Coaches Convention is the one here in Texas by TASCO, the Texas Association of Soccer Coaches, which is in November. It's usually that weekend before Thanksgiving. So I'm trying to kind of see if we can bring that same concept there. So to be able to do the same things, something similar at least. But anything you can share with us as far as possibly being able to share that live, or what's in the works?
Yeah, we try to do a couple of the shows live, like on Facebook, and it just really depends on the Wi-Fi signal at the convention center. They're not always the greatest, but I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve. I'm going to try this year because obviously everybody wants to, just from what I've heard so far today, like, I know everybody who's not attending wants to hear the Eric Winalda show. So we're going to try to get that one on live. Thanks to you, I found some other ventures that we're going to look at to try to get that live for everybody. But we definitely, there's obviously some stories that, we know we're going to be telling and we're going to be listening to at convention that we want people to be able to see it as it's going, kind of give you that behind the scenes look and kind of make you want to say, okay, like, hey, I want to go the following year to be a part of that. So, and I know I had somebody tell me that they want us to do it live. So that way, when they're at a session, they can listen to our show while we're doing it. I'm like, no, you got to pay attention to the session. Right. But yeah, you still listen to us at the same time. But so yeah, we're working on that. Everything's going to be on our social media when we make those announcements of how you'll be able to tune in live for the episodes that we're doing.
Yeah. Last year I was a bit excited. I know a lot of coaches here in Texas were excited just because it was kind of the first time they were able to kind of quote unquote attend because it was the digital convention, right? Mm-hmm. So I know this year, as we start transitioning here for our next segment, guys, what will be different aside from the fact that we're back in person? What will be different in Kansas City in 2022? And what's the one thing maybe you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah, no, in terms of like what we're doing or in terms of just the convention in general?
And any or both.
Both. I think it'll be interesting because we're still going to with the new variant, we're still probably going to be like at arm's length from everyone. So I think that
this is the perks of Nick being married to a nurse.
Yes.
Kelly is our soccer chat and medical analyst for us.
Go.
Yeah, no, but yeah, so I think it will be interesting in that regard where like it'll be in person, but I think we also I'll be interested to see like how it goes, but I'm just so excited to see everyone. We talk about it all the time. Like there's people that I have not seen in person since the last convention live in Baltimore. And so I think the most exciting thing for us and the things that will be really, really fun for us is just being able to, like Shaun said earlier, see everyone. I think in terms of us, I think we're probably like Shaun's got, if there's any secrets, Shaun will tell me the day of or the day before. So I don't know.
I've got a really big secret that only 2 people know, and I cannot wait for it to explode in front of Nick.
Wow.
That's one that will be live. Like that show will be live because I want everyone to see his reaction. This secret has been 2 years in the making. That's all I can say.
Now you're gonna have a dump button there, right, for when Nick finds out, because God forbid there's any more profanity laced stuff that comes out. Maybe. No.
I mean, I want the most real reaction that we can get. So I people will truly see us for who we really are.
Nice. Yeah, so this is awesome, guys. I appreciate you guys. So I understand you guys are going to stick around with us for our next segment, Counterattack. We get to pick on you guys a little bit, ask some random off-the-wall stuff, some soccer-related, some non-soccer related, but it'll be a good time. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
College Promoters USA, founded and located in San Antonio, operates as the only family-owned college recruiting company in Texas that brings a truly professional, local, and face-to-face approach to area high school student athletes and their families. If your son or daughter is serious about college athletics, call them at 210-494-6363 or visit collegepromotersusa.com anytime. College Promoters USA, the best investment a parent can make in their high school student athletes.
And we are back with Coach Shaun Soderling and Coach Nick Rizzo, the head women's soccer coaches at Brescia University and St. Mary's University, respectively, and also the pioneers of Soccer Chat. You can also find them on Twitter at Chat Soccer with no E, right? That's CHAT.
Yeah, because somebody took Soccer Chat and they don't even use it. That's like my massive pet peeve right now, but It is what it is.
Awesome. All right, guys. So you guys ready? We're going to dive right in. Counterattack.
Let's
Get to
do
pick
this.
on you guys a little bit. Have some fun. All right. You guys can determine who wants to go first. You guys can figure out the rotation here. So.
Okay.
All right. These are all pertaining as a coach, obviously not as a player. Okay. Any training session or game day superstitions or rituals?
I wear the exact same clothes until we lose. So I'll wash them, but I will wear the exact same socks, exact same shoes, exact same shorts, boxers, shirt, undershirt, anything until we lose. And then as soon as we lose, then I need to find a new lucky outfit until the next loss. So which clearly shows that it's not that lucky at all, but that's just a superstition I have.
So what do you do with that existing pair once you lose? You just burn it, or what?
No, I care for other stuff, just not game day stuff. It doesn't pertain to any bad luck outside of soccer scenarios. It's in-game stuff. Yeah, and I wear my socks inside out. I don't know if that's superstition or just you guys don't know this. Shaun, you don't know this. I wear my socks inside out. It's way more comfortable. You should try it. Change your life.
My daughter says the exact same thing. Change your life. Thing. Yeah.
Now, the thing is, though, he says this, but if you look at any of the videos, if he's not wearing a coat, he's literally wearing the same thing every game. And that's what we like. Whenever he took the job, the first thing he had was a navy blue hoodie. And we were like, no, that's not going to work. You have to have a red hoodie. And, he's got his, I think he got St. Mary's versions of his favorite Monmouth Under Armour pants.
Yep.
So that must mean that the superstition's working because he wears the same thing all the time.
Yep. But yeah, wear the exact same thing all the time. That's definitely my game day superstition.
Shaun?
Oh gosh. I wouldn't so much say now I am the person of if we don't play well in an outfit, I won't wear it again. I don't throw it away or anything. I'll wear it for practice. But I'm pretty bad about I'll get outfits made specifically for games and stuff that's made specifically for training session. And if we play bad, that outfit instantly goes to the training pile. But I'm definitely I have to listen to certain songs. I very much as I was as a player. I got to listen to some certain songs to kind of get myself in the zone. And because I feel like as a coach, you can still get up for the game just like a player does. And some of that stuff never leaves you. So I think too, the only other thing that I can think of is I started this year. So the long hair just started during the pandemic. So I'm still getting used to having long hair. I don't know why, but I have to have 2 hair bands that hold my bun up. Don't know why I need to, but it's my superstition. So I'm going to go with that. I have to have 2 hair ties from the bun.
Yeah, I thought Nick for sure was going to go kind of the route similar to me. I'm a gum guy. I go through gum like crazy on game day.
He was a gum, but then he turned into a candy person or Jolly Ranchers, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I'm one of those people that like I have a favorite thing until I have a new favorite thing, and gum was my favorite thing for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. No, I'm when we start pregame warm up, pop in a piece right before kickoff, pop in a new piece, and then at prior to the start of second half, pop in a new piece. So I go through at least 3 just in a game. So,
I also refuse to watch our team warm up. You were talking about warm up. Like I refuse to watch our team warm up. I won't do it. Like I don't want any preconceived notions about how the game is going to go before it goes. And my coach, my assistant coaches know this. So like I'll like go up to my goalkeeper coach after the warm up, be like, "Hey, how'd Lex do today?" And no matter how she did, he will always be like, "Yeah, she was great today. She crushed it." And he's like he's lying to me half the time, but like he at least like knows that he has to lie to me.
Right. Yeah. All right. Favorite number and why?
14.
14 also. That's why me and Shaun had like the exact same. We both had huge hair in college and both wore the exact same number.
14 was my grandfather's number when he played sports. My uncle wore 14. And I was super, super religious when I was younger and had always been told that 7 was the perfect number. And I was just like, well, I'm not good at math, but 14 is 7 plus 7. So it must be like the double perfect number. And now my daughter wears it for her team, and 14's it's the best number. There's no number better than 14. And like the cool part is like you never see it as like a popular number anywhere. So I go with what's not popping. 14's the best number.
Yeah, I came to it a little bit differently. I got to college and our team had a 56-person roster, and so I think it was 28 people got jerseys. And I remember I was fortunate enough to get a jersey, and I was one of the first ones to pick. And I don't know why my coach did this to me, but I was a freshman. I was one of the first people to pick. And he goes, "What number you got?" And I go, "Whatever number is not going to piss off someone." Because like I was like already probably pissing off people by making the team. I was like, I just don't want to make anyone else mad at me because I took their number. And he's like, "No one has 14. That guy graduated." I go, "Perfect." And so I took it, and I don't know. Then it got to like the next year, and I never wanted to change. I just really like, similar to Shaun, I just really liked it. It was unique. And at the time, one of my favorite Liverpool players was Xabi Alonso, and he was 14. So it just worked out that I was able to do that. And like anyone loves Thierry Henry, and that's another one who wore that number. And so it just became one of those things where I was like, yeah, I'm going to make this my number. And I think it's kind of cool when you do that, like as a player, when you really like, no matter what number you get, you like make it yours and you take like a ton of pride in it. Like no matter whether that, like we had a girl who was a starter for us this year as a freshman that like was number 30. And I remember asked her after season, I was like, "Do you want to change it?" She's like, "No, that's my jersey." And like she has she started and played almost every minute for us, but like wanted to own that uniform with. So I think that stuff's pretty cool.
Yeah. Awesome. So memes or GIFs, which one?
I'm a GIF guy. Anybody who knows me, my wife will tell you I speak highly in GIF. There's a lot that speak my language, and it will really tell you how I feel. So if you text with me, be prepared. There's going to be a lot of those sent to you.
What's the go-to GIF?
Oh, I can tell you what his go-to is. it's like 80% Deuce-Amaro, and like that's like the other 20%.
Oh yeah,
random stuff.
Yeah. Desus and Mero are my go-to. Depending on who I'm talking with, I will that kind of while Desus and Mero really explain me. Depending on who I'm talking with, I'll throw some like old school wrestling ones in, or
we've shared quite a few wrestling ones.
Oh yeah. When Hector and I really first started talking, we just like kept going back and forth in old school wrestling. I was like, I like this guy. So yeah, I'm definitely a GIF guy. Unapologetically.
There you go. Nick?
Definitely a GIF guy too, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not as creative with them as Shaun is, but I definitely am a GIF guy.
Can you identify a go-to though? You have one enough?
Man, oh gosh. I feel like I use like a lot of like 2000s pop culture. So like,
yeah,
I feel like I go a lot into like, if you like listen to music or watch movies like in the early 2000s when I was still in like junior high and high school, I feel like those are a lot of my go-tos. Like I don't know. I feel like I use like Mean Girls or like Avril Lavigne.
Yes.
Like,
if you know Nick, that is totally what he does.
it's like I feel like those are like the main go-tos is just anything from like my childhood or like not even my childhood, but like junior high and high school era for me. I do. Shaun told me I can't last night on the show. It's out today that I can't do I can't karaoke Complicated by Avril Lavigne this time. I have to pick a new song if we go out karaoke.
All right. Awesome. Something you wish you would have been told prior to entering coaching.
Oh man. Nick, you go.
I think the hardest thing for me, and just I don't know if having the knowledge would make it any easier, but as a person who wants to be liked by everyone and wants to be everyone's friend, understanding that you're going to upset people every day you do your job, and they'll eventually get over it for the most part, like because you're like playing time sucks. Like none of us like to watch people stay on the bench, and so it's just I think that's the hardest part for me is like knowing that like your decisions are going to negatively affect someone's emotion when like as a human being, if you're a good person, you're trying so hard to make sure every day that you don't upset people. And so I think knowing that going in, I don't know if it would have helped, but someone could have told me that maybe that would have helped a little bit.
Right. That's a good point. Good point.
Gosh.
Man, I think we stumped him, Nick.
I know. I'm very fortunate that I had some pretty good mentors going in that kind of gave me a heads up on things. I would say nobody taught us how to coach during a pandemic, but I think to me the thing is obviously kind of like Nick. When I started coaching, I was a single guy. Dating was not a thing. The thought of marriage was not a thing, much less having kids. So I was able to really just go and do whatever I needed to for coaching and for my job. And then, as you get involved in dating and you get married and, you start dividing that time up. And obviously when children get involved, that's something I've really, if I could go back and tell myself anything, 20 years ago now, I probably would go back and tell myself, slow down. But the thing is, anybody who knows me knows that's not a speed that I've got. But if there was that, Marty McFly time machine with Doc Brown, I would go back and tell 19-year-old Shaun, just slow down, dude, and enjoy it. Because it'll go by way too fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Both great points, actually. Great points. All right, so we have a Liverpool guy and a Chelsea guy here. So naturally, Nick has far better taste in soccer teams.
Whoa!
Now with that said, who is your least favorite soccer team?
I actually, this is not even a close second, and it was before this weekend. I was actually out. I forget. Who was I hanging out with? I was at a showcase, and I was out grabbing beers with someone, and we started talking about
par for the course for us.
Yeah. And I was talking with someone and they were like, we had this exact discussion, like, who do you hate the most? And I was like, I promise you, if I text my wife, she will answer this question perfectly. I hate Tottenham. I cannot stand Tottenham. I hate Harry Kane. I hate Dele Alli. I do not like that team. And that was before this weekend. This weekend. Yeah. Yeah. This is years in the making. I just think I don't know. I just do not like Tottenham, which is weird because they're not threatening. They never win anything anyway. But I don't know. I can't stand Tottenham, and I don't know why. It's not even based in logic. I just think maybe it's Harry Kane's face. Something about his face just makes me not like him.
Shaun.
So I definitely have to explain this one because I know I'm going to get heat for it. I cannot stand Manchester United, but here's why. If you're from Manchester and you've grown up on that team, kudos to you. Awesome. I love it.
That's also par for the course, I think, right?
Yeah. If you're from there, I'll give you that. However, if you're from the United States and you paid attention to all of those advertisements when they would win every single year, and that's why you became a Manchester United fan, I can't with that. It's always easy to pick Nick has seen me do this at camp. I don't care how young you are. If you show up in Manchester City jersey, I'm like, oh, that's cute. You've watched soccer for 6 years. Fantastic. The same way that City is and kids liking them because they're winning everything. to me, United was the same way. Like they won all the time, and people were like, "Yeah, that's our team." And I can remember the first like European game I ever really got into was Chelsea United in the Champions League final. And I showed it to my buddy's house. We played high school ball together, and every single person in his house had on a United shirt. And I was just like, what in the world? And I was like, why do you guys like it? And like, oh, don't you remember the Cristiano commercial or the Wayne Rooney commercial? Or, look at all these Nike kids. This is what, and I was like, no, like I said earlier, like I don't conform to what everybody's doing. And I knew who John Terry was, and I liked him. I liked Frank Lampard, and I was just like, that's my squad. And it just so helps that they're blue. Anybody knows me, I love the color blue. And I just rode with them ever since. And because I grew up very much a MLS guy.
So that wasn't color influenced at all, picking Chelsea?
No, in that specific situation, yeah, maybe. But I cannot for the life of me. It'd be like I'm not a baseball fan or baseball guy. Like I don't follow it religiously. If a couple of teams that I watch are in the playoffs, I may watch a couple of innings, or if they make the World Series, I may watch a game. But it would be like, in the New York Yankees heyday and be like, okay, I'm going to pick a team to root for in baseball. Oh, hey, this team has won like 5 World Series in a row. Yeah, I'm going to pick this team. So for me, like I just can't with United. Like I can't even like when Chelsea played them, I can't even watch the game because I don't want to even like the thought of seeing them just like makes me want to hurl.
Right. Now I'm with you on that one. Definitely with you on that one.
And their fans are so annoying. So. Sorry to my friends that are United fans, but man, y'all gotta stop with that.
I'm really only sorry to Mario because I like Mario and I know he's a Tottenham fan. He's the only one I'm apologizing to.
But see, like Tottenham though, like I should hate them because I'm a Chelsea fan, but like they literally do nothing. So like it'd be like that person at school that you went to school with. You're like, oh, I can't stand that person. And then when you think about like what did they ever do to you? Nothing. Like you can't stand them.
It could be, I don't know. It could be just like Nick said. It could just be Harry Kane's face for some reason. I don't know what it is. So. All right, favorite movie quote.
Ooh, I don't know if I can say mine on air.
That you can share. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good. I have 2?
Yes.
Sure.
I love the scene in Gladiator when he just fought in the arena and he takes off his helmet and reveals himself to Joaquin Phoenix, his character, and he gives that like huge monologue. He's like, "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the Army of the North, loyal servant." I could do the whole thing, but that one, and
give it to us. Give us the whole thing.
Oh gosh, okay. My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commanders of the Army of the North, loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Oh, commander of Felix Legions was in there one. Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this time or the next.
Well done.
That one is one of my favorite. The other one is like the liar one, where he like gets caught like speeding. I don't know if you guys know that movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's just like that whole movie is like insanely quotable. But it's like, I don't know. You guys know that part? He's like, I sped, I followed too closely, I ran a stop sign, I hit a Chevy, I sped some more, I failed to use the crosswalk, I sped some more, changed lane in the intersection, I changed lane without signaling while running a red light and speeding, and I have unpaid parking tickets. That's like
That's awesome.
So here's where it struggles for me. So I'm not a movie guy. I'm very picky about movies I watch. And so a majority of movies that I watch are comedies. So that's when I was like, man, I don't know if I can repeat some of my favorite ones. But one that, that sticks out to me the most, would have to be, it was in, this is how bad I am with movies. The one I wanted to say was my favorite scene from the movie The Rock with Sean Connery about what winners do and what losers do.
Yes.
That's probably my all-time number one.
That's a good one. Very good.
That's my number one of all time. I would have to say the quote makes no sense whatsoever, but on The Departed, for whatever reason, I can't think of the scene, but the guy's just like, and I have a horrible Boston accent. He's just like, son's a janitor, dad's a cop, firefighters. And it's just like, I don't know why, but that just like lights me up. But obviously I think, the big one too is from the last Rocky Balboa about, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's about how many times you get back up. Which we see that on all the motivational quotes. But I would definitely say those are kind of the ones that appropriately for us. So if people want like my actual like funny ones, then they can shoot me a DM or something.
Nice. All right. Next one. So you are made the soccer czar in America today. All right. What is one thing, the first agenda item, first thing you would change in soccer in America tomorrow?
Open leagues, promotion, relegation. Like I would love to see. I feel like it would be amazing to see like a USL team get promoted and like like how they do the US Open Cup, where you like see that like, and then they still like will beat the MLS team sometimes. And so I feel like that would raise the level of soccer in the United States because it's more open, and you'd get to see more of these maybe players that could come up and make a difference. I mean, you have more stories like Jamie Vardy or like Harry Kane, who started in lower leagues and made their way up and are very world-class players. And so I don't know. I think it would make it a lot more fun. And I think, to be honest, I'm from Chicago, but hopefully this doesn't offend anyone. I used to follow Chicago Fire when they first started a lot. I don't follow it as much anymore. The MLS doesn't intrigue me as much, and I feel like that would really make me want to be a supporter of my home team again, knowing that like there's risk of them going down.
Nice.
I'm definitely a promotion relegation guy. I would also change for United States soccer to go to the actual FIFA calendar when it comes to its leagues. I just think that that's massively appropriate. I would make college soccer 2 seasons. You play 1 game a week. I think youth soccer needs to go to 1 game a week. Obviously showcases you're playing 3 games in 3 days. You get a little bit of proper time of recovery, but I think our youth are just playing way too many games, in my own opinion. And I would also make Megan Rapinoe my president, because I think Megan Rapinoe is my president. And if I was the soccer czar and in charge, my tweets of saying that Megan Rapinoe is my president would finally come true.
Nice. Good stuff.
A lot of people are like, what in the hell is he saying that for? I don't know. I just always said Megan Rapinoe is my president. So if I'm in charge of soccer, there we go.
See, I think what I should have done was ask Shaun for 5, and I think he would have given me 1. But I asked for 1, so he gave me 5. Right. So,
well, Nick took promotion relegation would be my number 1.
Right.
And so Nick took that, and I was just like, well, crap.
Yeah. I did have one that was interesting that had never been dropped on me before when I asked this question. My last episode, actually, our last episode of the podcast, solidarity payments, because it talked about how that would unfold, the impact that would have on youth soccer. And I was just like, that like the actual true development, like a lot of clubs say they're putting emphasis on. And I was just like, that's an incredible point. I had never thought about that, but yeah.
Well, one, I thought I was going to use it, but I was like, somebody's probably already said it. It's and obviously it's not possible, but like, I would just love to get rid of pay for play. Like, there are so many kids that, Eric Ronaldo did a great thing at convention a few years ago about why not us. And he talked about, there's a Leo Messi in America, but we're never going to know it because that kid can't afford to go somewhere and play where he's going to be seen. Yeah. And so to me, like that's what I'm sure you probably get that one a lot.
Well, and I think that's the impact of solidarity payments, is it would have a massive impact on pay for play, right? Pay to play. Because you look at, for example, Christian Pulisic right now in Chelsea, right? I was like, they actually, who was it? Was it Chelsea? I think was actually trying to, I forget the name of the club that helped first develop them in.
The one in Hershey.
Yeah. And they couldn't pay him. They couldn't pay him. So still, I don't get that one. I don't get that one at all. So, all right, next one. Who would play you? So Nick will love this. Shaun might struggle with this. Who would play you in a movie?
My wife says, I don't know the actor's name. Because we actually asked each other this question the other day. What is his name? I'm Googling this right now. It's the guy who plays PETA in the Hunger Games. What is his freaking name? I'm gonna find this, I swear. But Oh wait, Josh Hutcherson. Look him up. Apparently, like my wife thinks I look like him from Hunger Games, so I would say him would
Josh
play.
Hutcherson. Okay.
Yeah, Google it. I'll go for a more famous one. Like I would have like him passing away. I would have loved for like Paul Walker to play me. That would be like an awesome person to play me.
Nice.
I have like
I can see that one.
Kind of like the curly hair like he had and stuff like that. So R.I.P. Paul Walker, but that would be who I would have loved to have played me in a movie.
Shaun, the Mountain, maybe the Mountain.
According to Nick, I'm one of those people. I don't have like a celebrity doppelganger. But if I got to choose someone who could play me,
maybe doesn't have to look like you. Maybe personality or something.
Okay. Personality, definitely Matthew McConaughey. I think he and I would get along real well. But if I got to pick who plays me, of course I'm going to pick The Rock, man.
There you go. All right, awesome, good pick.
He's a lot taller than me, but I think he can make it work.
Yeah. All right. I think he's still smaller than the Mountain, right? Just by a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. Bucket list destination. Place you and or the family go before it's all said and done.
New Zealand.
Yes.
I want to go to New Zealand. So it's funny. That was where we were originally going to go on our honeymoon before COVID hit, and they weren't letting people in the country. But I texted my wife one day. I go, I want to go to New Zealand for honeymoon. And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, that sounds good. About 20 minutes, or probably not 20 minutes, about like an hour later, she's like, you only want to go there because Lord of the Rings was made there. I was like, that is exactly why I want to go there. She was like talking to someone at work, and she was like, oh yeah, my husband like wants to go there because that's where like the Lord of the Rings stuff. And Kelly's like, that bastard.
Yeah, you know that's a place I want to go as well, just because through going probably, I don't know, maybe 15 years back, everything, the research, the stuff that's been done, the coverage on the All Blacks is how I learned more about the area, the region, and just fascinating people, just great people. So I'd love to go there for a number of reasons as well. Shaun?
Gosh, my wife wants to travel as well. Whenever we both decide to retire, she wants to visit every continent. So the only two places I would say that I really want to try out. And I'm a horrible tourist. Like, give me a day or two and then I'm done. But obviously Sydney or Australia was a bucket list for me, which I'll take care of that in 2023. And I would say England. I was supposed to go to London back when I was with the University of Evansville. Our team was going over there, and we got pregnant with Quinn, and was just like, I'm going to save my money for a child because that's way more important. So definitely a bucket list would be going to London, spending some time there, obviously checking out a game at Stamford Bridge, and but I would say Australia and England for sure.
Nice. Name a phobia of yours.
Yeah, but if we say it, then people are going to actually try to scare us with this. So that's a trick question, because anytime people ask me what I'm scared of, I don't want to say it because I don't want people to getting around me and having these things.
So is that a phobia in itself?
I've got a lot of phobias.
Not being able to tell people what your phobia is, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm afraid of heights, but I always say this, I have no problem flying. I have no problem going on roller coasters. I think I'm just afraid of dying from heights. I just don't want to fall off a building. And so if I'm going to avoid scenarios where I'm going to be in high places where there is risk of me falling off said high place. I would never there's guys that will climb those towers to change the lights. There is no amount of money that you could pay me to do that. There's $0 that did anyone ever see the movie Free Solo? It's the documentary of the rock climber.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Scales freaking a mountain in Yellowstone, without any gear, just himself and chalk. And there again, you couldn't get me 20 feet off the ground doing that. No way.
Yeah. All right. Hobby you discovered during the pandemic.
Playing chess. I play chess all the time online now, and my wife hates it so much because I'll ignore her when I'm playing chess. So chess for sure. It's really fun. I got into it because it's freaking Queen's Gambit. Now I can't stop. I was playing last night until 2 a.m.
Mine was I found a YouTube channel that is about guys playing video games. I guess they're the streamers or whatever, but they one day a week get together and play Uno online. and I got hooked. I had to watch it every single week during the pandemic. So that would be the only. I didn't really do anything new in the pandemic. I'm a big golfer. That's a big hobby of mine. Anybody who knows me, and I played a lot of golf during the pandemic because it was socially distanced and just a game that I love to play.
Nice. All right. Last one. I asked this one of just about everybody. So down the road, we're fully out of the pandemic, I guess, our new normal, whatever you want to call it. Sunday dinner, you're hosting everybody, family, friends, former players, alumni, ton of people are coming over. Sunday dinner, you're the chef. What are you cooking?
Well, that's a bad idea. Can because I think I'm speaking for Nick and myself. Can we order it?
No, you're the chef.
Oh,
you've been requested as the
two
chef.
things now I learned in the last week. Not in the last week, in the last 2 weeks, because I've been trying to learn things so our kids don't starve. I can do it either. I did pulled pork tacos the other day, which
quality.
were really pretty decent. And then I did a white chicken chili in the crock pot. Pretty much anything in the crock pot is awesome because you just throw all the crap in there and then you just leave it for 6 hours and it's done. So they would be getting multiple crock pots of either pulled pork tacos or chili. So it's really up to what I would do chili this time of the year. Winter is a great time for chili. You don't really get that down where you are, but it's 20 degrees here and chili tastes great.
Yeah. I got to say the crock pot, when I asked this question of coaches, the crock pot seems to be like the super sub of coaches that coaches will go to,
it's
for some reason.
I mean, for our job, it's freaking brilliant. You can go home at lunch, you can throw everything in there and then you just put it on slow cook. And you come back in 7 hours and it's perfectly done. It's like it's amazing.
Oh gosh. I can really only make one meal. Macaroni, cheese, and glizzies. I mean, if you want a hot dog and macaroni and cheese, I can do that perfectly. Although I did make something during the pandemic that my wife was like, that's kind of impressive. And I can't think of for the life of me what it is. I think I'm decent on the grill, so I probably would grill something, whether it's chicken brats, burgers, glizzies, whatever. It's kind of the route that I would go. So it would be a type of barbecue, something like that.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Grippo's chicken. That's what I make really good. Grippo's chicken.
Okay. Nice.
It's a chicken breast that's breaded in a potato chip that you can get in Evansville or in Cincinnati, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, hey, if you guys are ever here, make it my way. You're in the San Antonio area. Well, definitely, you guys more than welcomed. We'll throw some stuff on the grill. We'll introduce you guys to some Texas barbecue. So
Texas. I finally got to Texas for the first time last summer. I was so excited. Now I got to explore. Oh, absolutely.
You got to come back. You got to come back. I keep telling you guys. It's open.
When you guys do your Texas coaches convention, get us down there.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm working on trying to get to it finally myself. Now that I'm back. So yeah, for sure. Coaches, this has been awesome. This has been tremendous. Nick, Shaun, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your time. I know, Nick, you're getting ready to go make a nice little trip over to Chicago, so I appreciate this. Shaun, I know you're up with family out of state, so I appreciate you guys as well.
It's snowing out this window right now, and I'm losing my mind.
What's the temperature there?
Like 20.
Same.
Horrible.
Okay.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, hey, any final before we go ahead and wrap this up? We start transitioning to wrap up here. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to share? Just shout outs? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be at convention, just come and find us, say hi. We're really excited to always meet new people, and the only other thing I got is Merry Christmas to everyone. Have an amazing holiday.
For sure. Happy holidays to everybody. You can follow along just at Chat Soccer, no E, SOCCR on Twitter, as well as on Facebook and Instagram for all of our shows, anything that we've got coming up, promo material. I thought you would ask Nick to say his Twitter handle because it took him famously 6 months to figure out what it was. But mine's at Coach Soderling on all platforms. Love to chat with everybody. It doesn't matter what the topic is, just love to talk to people. We got a lot of big things going on Soccer Chat, and I know Nick can attest with his school as well. Brescia University, we got a lot of good stuff coming up. You can follow that at Brescia WSOC on all platforms and see what the sisterhood's all about.
Awesome. Nick, you want to follow that up with that famous Twitter handle?
Yeah, at Coach N Rizzo. And if you want to follow our soccer one, it's SMUMNW Soccer, because again, there's 500 St. Mary's in the world, and we had to find one that was slightly unique. So that's St. Mary's, Minnesota, W Soccer.
Yeah, we got one here. There's a St. Mary's University here in San Antonio, the D2 program. So yeah. So coaches, again, thank you for everything. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for everything. Wishing you guys the absolute best as you transition into your spring season, the convention first, obviously, your spring period, and then your fall season as well. Wishing you guys the absolute best. Keep reaching out as far as on the recruiting side, because you guys know I'm heavily involved on that side as well. So appreciate having you guys here. For our listeners, our supporters, thank you again for everything you do. You're the reason why we do it. Again, you can find us both on Twitter at 50_50 pod. You can find us also on YouTube, the YouTube channel at 50_50 podcast, as well as on Instagram at 5050 podcast. And go on the YouTube page, subscribe, hit the notifications button so you can get notified when our next episode comes. So till the next time, wishing everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas. And until the next time, you know what to do. Keep downloading,